scandalize, sacrifice, silent witness, counter tear, master pen. Let's do this. I'm gonna drop you your top of my hit list. Don't have a bit of it, don't make a wish list. It's no last step, but straight in a sex bit like Daniel in the lion. Never call for my blessed with the tasty tea, but hanging from your necklace. Believe me, there's nothing more barbaric than that. Nothing more medicine than that.
Hello, yes, I thought I'd start my latest video with, again, some sort of text and also music that I'm currently inspired by as well. So currently we are listening to the fantastic Rufus Mufusa, who's currently touring Wales promoting her debut album Fur Coats from the Lion's Den, and it's absolutely wicked, let me tell you that. And Rufus is a legend, a female hip-hop spoken word singer, songstress, artist, very influenced by feminist issues as well. Very proud of the fact that she's from the same valley as me. So I just wanted to give Rufus a plug. She's very well known within those who know really in the music scene, I suppose, in Cardiff and whatnot. But you know, I think that she is going to be famous, and I just wanted to, and rightly so, I just want to flag her up as someone worth knowing about. And of course there's the text on the screen which my kind German comrade friend Stefan sent me yesterday via Facebook, which was really awesome of him, and so I wanted to share that to live on. Okay, cool. Right, okay. So today I'm going to be talking about the what I think is the terrible state of the working class movement in the UK in particular, but I think across the world, is at incredibly low ebbs of struggle, particularly the difficulties we face in South Wales, where the unions are just not defending us whatsoever. And in fact, some of the officials seem more concerned with prioritising the political reputations of the ruling Labour government in Wales and sacrificing sort of working class feminist militants such as myself and many others, rather than helping to empower us to, you know, to defend the workers movement. And as part of that, there's 50% of the working class, for, you know, women in particular, to continue to actually make sure that our specific needs and demands are met by the current Labour movement, which I'd say at the moment is not happening at all. So I want to explore those things as well, but I'll also just to be cheeky, will insert some a little bit of spoken word poetry, if you will, and take risks like this kind of self-exposure. I admit I'm not always as planned as I could be, but there is a rough plan, kind of like when a teacher wings it in the class. Actually, that's a bit kind of my style. So I promise it'll be short too, visually stimulating. Hopefully at an audio level it will also work for you, and be patient, there will be more within a minute. Hello, hi, yes, so here comes my video part. Anyone who follows me on Facebook might have noticed, rather, why would you notice, that I posted about trying to dye my hair blue earlier, but I didn't expect it to work, and Kelsey it didn't work, so yeah, that's where it was meant to be. But anyway, it's all lightened it and whatever, not blue in any way, except for if you look really carefully in certain very complimentary lights. But anyway, that's totally superficial shit, so I'll just get on with what I was going to set out to do. So I've already kind of introduced some of the political points I wanted to make, particularly regarding my frustration with the trade union bureaucracy in Wales, but also across the UK, internationally, but specifically for my environment, South Wales, the trade union bureaucrats and also the Labour Party officials and employers are all in this really cosy racket together, as far as me and my workmates can see. And UCU in Wales recently balloted members, including myself, to vote double yes on whether we're willing to take both strike action and action short of strike on the issue of this year's latest shit pay offer, which in reality is a pay cut, and also about a workload which is obscene and it's probably the worst it's ever been, and teachers' workloads are notorious, but it's not just teachers, it's all support staff within colleges. We're all facing tremendous pressures. In fact, it's literally actually made me so ill and stressed that it's a major factor in why I'm currently suffering so much and not actually able to do a job I love, which is teaching people. I really enjoy it, but 21 grand a year is what they put me on now, so thanks a lot, employer. And we voted yes to take this action, and you have done nothing whatsoever to organise it. In fact, they've gone around telling people there's nothing on. Why they have decided to do that, I have no idea, but I know that it will not just be me who is really pissed off about this, because we were meant to be going on strike from something like February the 21st, something like that was the dates I heard mentioned. The Cardiff's People Assembly meeting I went to a couple of weeks ago. Spoke to my neighbour, she works at the local uni as well, she's just as furious as me. I just wanted to express that frustration at just the shocking state of affairs the trade union movement is in, and just anything to protect the employer, and very, very, very resistant to the actual views and feelings of rank and file members who have to bear the cuts. So yeah, and also how I think that is linked to the other political issue that I've been banging on about a lot recently, which is the unprecedented scale of attack on women's rights that's currently taking place, which unfortunately the Tory government is using under the very false rules of pretending to support transgender people. They are doing that not because they're sincere in wanting to help any vulnerable or oppressed community. They are doing it as a means to attack the services for both women and transgender people. And I think that's very disturbing. And I also think it's directly, well, it is my practical experience related to the inertia of the so-called Labour movement in Britain, and generally the left in Britain, which is just utterly inept. It's just, it almost makes you embarrassed to be a leftist, but to be tainted with this. But sort of, because as I've blogged about in previous videos, the left has a major problem with not being able to deal with or in any way be genuinely supportive of women's rights. A huge cover-up of sexism and abuse, and now the silencing of women and girls, which they're going along with incredibly censorious dictators. And at the same time they are then so busy police thwarting people like myself that they're actually undermining the class struggle, because when you attack people like me and knock us out mentally from even being able to go to work, then that makes it that much harder to organise effective trade union action that can potentially unite us all, which is the common kind of theme that we should striving for, actually, is what can also unite us, which is class struggle. But instead, no, no, we've got to go after these turfs, there's nothing, and forget organising any effective industrial action, because they don't want to make life difficult for their little cosy partnerships with the bosses, who are also implementing this kind of, a lot of this stuff without debate and discussion in terms of the impact on single sex provisions, which are actually still illegal, and an important component of the Equality Act of 2010 in the UK, because sex is still a legally protected characteristic. And I would actually like my unions, I mean more than one actually, but unfortunately none of them are being as proactive as they could be in supporting myself and my mainly female workmates, who are vastly underpaid and undervalued. And I think it's a legitimate claim for putting some kind of equal pay claim on the basis of our sex characteristics, which is again another reason why I feel so passionate about the issues. And I think it's really important that women and girls' views are consulted on the possible unintended, if I'm generous, consequences of the proposed Gender Recognition Act, whilst at the same time of absolutely supporting the legal rights and protections of trans people, including the rights to no discrimination at employment or housing. But nevertheless, there's two different communities' needs that need to be balanced there, as I've always maintained, and will continue to do so. But yes, what the future is, I really don't know. I've had to learn that I myself can't, as much as I'd love to be able to change these things, I am just one individual, and my capacity to impact or influence events is extremely limited. And I kind of, as part of my recovery, I need to be able to accept that, really, to be honest, because otherwise I can just put too much pressure on myself. So that's particularly what I wanted to sort of post about, also to reflect that I took part in a video conference call last weekend with mainly sort of American based socialists, which was absolutely really awesome. Socialists who sort of gather ourselves around the Facts for the Working People blog. Just want to give that a plug. Most of the socialists I spoke to, a couple were American, actually quite a few are British and Irish, including Sean Throne, who is of course Irish. Got decades of experience in fighting for socialism and trying to oppose sectarianism and all kinds of divisions within the workers' movement, not least on the question of religion and nationality, as is the case with Ireland. And we just had a really far-ranging, sometimes quite not heated but sharp, but fraternal, sisterly actually, as well, discussions about many issues, but not least the problems within the working class at international level, in the total crisis, worse as ever been, I say, in terms of no leadership whatsoever to offer working class people way forward. And we had some kind of really interesting and very thought-provoking and very intelligent and sensitive discussions about how the class struggle relates to and intersects with, yes, I'm going to use this word, intersect. Some of you might not have heard of it, but it's a big sort of buzzword on the left currently, and relates to this theory of intersectionality. Again, you might not have heard of this word, fair enough if you haven't. It's no judgment on you if you haven't. It depends how much of a left-wing geek you are, actually. But it's this sort of liberal feminism that sort of dilutes all class content, and you get all these different types of oppression, but the one oppression that is erased from this sort of liberal feminism is class and working class oppression. But also, as some of my radical feminist sisters would point out, that women's biological lived reality is being erased as well. But also as well, one of the youth comrades made very powerfully the point as well that it's, you know, there's those two intersections, but then there's of class and sex. Note I'm saying sex, not gender. But also as well, the ongoing and as evil as ever racist, statewide, international, existential actually oppression of people of colour and anyone who's not white like myself, and how really that's, you know, the task for all of us as activists really is to try and grapple with the fact that yes, if you're going to use the verb intersect to just mean that, to intersect or get across like on a motorway, then the three main sort of axes of oppression in this world are most definitely class, sex and racism. And there's a complex interrelationship between those three things, and that's not easy to get an answer to, but it's very important that we're as mindful as possible of that fact, and the fact that currently the left generally is failing to adequately address all three of these burning issues adequately or properly. I realise I myself am not tending to focus that much on so far in my videos on the issue of racism, but please don't mistake this for me being indifferent to it. I'm definitely not, and I know I need to give it proper attention. But all I would say for now is that in the same way that the sort of the liberal left is both completely ignoring the class struggle, is erasing biological sex and what that means in terms of women's oppression. The other thing that's happening as well within the traditional, particularly the traditional labour movement, is there's not enough recognition from white activists, which of course I would have to include myself in this because it's true that I am white, and probably that I haven't myself adequately acknowledged the absolute critical barrier of racism and not having the right internationalist, no borders kind of policy in terms of workers' rights, and how important it is to speak to the people who are the most oppressed, and for the most oppressed themselves to organise themselves within the movement, but also you know, separately when necessary, to tackle these issues. So I've probably been fairly incoherent, but hopefully this has made some kind of sense. I'm going to finish now with, as I promised previously, a small, very small poem, and when I say small I do mega small, but what it is, just a few weeks ago, this January 2018, I went to a Pontypridd poetry event. Pontypridd has a poetry event and it's really wicked, and I'm serious about that. And it's called Voices on the Bridge. It's been going for about a year now, but I've only been to the last two. It's absolutely amazing. It's also where I first heard Rufus Mufusa perform with equally talented Amelia Unity. Now both these women are absolutely wicked and are just bursting full of talent, and have really inspired me actually to think that, okay, I'm not a musician, I'm not a singer, but I can use my voice to and I can write to communicate and articulate things. And so this particular poem, and I think it was something that we're all really feeling that night, I think, if I could be so bold to try and speak on behalf of a whole group of people, just how difficult things are currently and how testing things are on a personal, political, financial, social, economic, every possible basis, but there's much strength to be gained through coming together and that we don't have to be isolated in our own individual homes, being torn apart by mental illness and physical ill health and all the worries that get to us, not least financial ones, which I'm going to keep going on about because I've just had a massive pay cut from my employer because they kept my contract from an all-year-round contract, so I'm really pissed off about it. And I'm kind of tired that both Unison and UCU are just like whatever sort of attitude, because I think it's outrageous. And the point is, it's not just me, it's so many workers are getting screwed right now. People really bad, and you know, the employer just, you know, what do we want to do, wipe out our existence as a trade union? I don't know. This video is being really dodgy. I don't know if it's going to work, but anyway, right, so back to the poetry. Yeah, it's very, like I said, it's short. Just gotta find the right page now. So like I said, it's inspired by that this night I went to, called Voices on the Bridge. There's a reference to that in the poem. I really hesitate to call it that, stretching the definition a little, that I did, and I want to share because I just feel like I want to share stuff. Okay, alright, okay, deep breath. Okay, we are all somebody, including you and me. Message in a sentence, lifeboat to hope, flash non-fiction, wait for my next words. Maybe they will give you hope. Out of darkness comes light, light in our eyes as we join together, keeping alive our militancy and poetry, our catharsis, through the sweet sonic soul of our voices on the bridge. There you go. Okay, I think that's it for me for now. Hope some of you are enjoying these videos, and I'm sure I'll be back shortly because I'm just finding 2018 is the year I just can't keep my mouth shut no matter what. So take care, much love to you all on this Valentine's Day, commercial crap that it is, but sending honestly, genuinely my best wishes and love to you all. Okay, unless you're fascist, then fuck off. Alright, okay, take care. Alright, bye bye.